Who, raise your hand if you struggle with caring about people's opinions. I'm going to raise them. I'm going to go ahead and raise them because I definitely do. This is your girl Bonnie Anahata, and I'm back with another video. I wouldn't say I struggle present moment with dealing with people's opinions because I've created a process, or caring about people's opinions because I've created a process that helps me transmute that emotion that I feel when I first, take in their comments, their thoughts, their opinions, even their energy of how they may feel. Sometimes before they even know how they feel, I feel it and I pick up on it. And so I've learned to just kind of understand that within myself. That sense of, I care about other people's thoughts and opinions. Because most of us, we don't want that, right? We don't want to care about people's opinions. We don't want, we want to feel like we unbothered. We want to act like we unbothered. And it's very true to be non-attached and detached in a certain way to where you are unbothered, right? And so that's absolutely true that it can create a high vibration. But the reality is it's authentic. Is unbotheredness authentic to you? Is being unbothered authentic to you? And that's the real question that I have always asked within myself. But the reality is, like, judgment has affected me a lot, like within my journey, within my artistry, within just who I am as a businesswoman, within who I am as a woman. Judgment has always been a part of just the journey. Who I am as a daughter, a sister, a cousin, a niece, right? Judgment has always been a part of the process. And I'm the type that I've always been so sensitive before I could term it as a, picking up on energy or, being empathically connected. I've always easily been able to pick up on things and pick up on people's feelings. And so I easily can pick up on when people are not only judging me, but when people are judging others. And it had gotten to the point where I became well versed in understanding people's judgments. I have been so prone to the feeling or anticipating, right, people's judgments and things like that had became so prevalent. It was like I internalized it, and other people, and although very much well people may have been judging me, but that practice had became a practice that I had internalized the judgment that I would feel from others, and it became my inner voice. So when I would experience things that, maybe I would face judgment, and I would kind of feel the judgment double time. I would feel the judgment that is coming from them, and I would feel the judgment that I perceive it to be, right? So it wasn't really them judging me, it was me judging me because of all of the judgment I had faced in the past and internalized that judgment. And the thing is, it's so funny because being a person that, like, a lot of people that know me probably wouldn't think that I care about people's opinions of me or thoughts of me, because naturally I move with intuition, and my intuition puts me into rebellious actions, right? But the crazy part is, a lot of the times I move with my intuition, but I logically don't be knowing what the fuck going on sometimes. Not what the fuck going on, but what I'm saying is, like, I logically can't fully explain why I did that outside of I went with my intuition. So, like, I may have, let's say, for example, I may have done an action that was in contrast or indifference or rebellious to it's hard to say like this, but rebellious to, let's say, others' thoughts or opinions of me. I may have done something in contrast to that in action, but internally, I would still internalize the judgment as if it was something I needed to care about, as if it was that thing to happen or that notion of me to take place, right? So it's like, even though I was acting that intuitive and in rebellious way, I was still kind of mindfuck myself because I was internalizing their judgment. So even though I moved on intuition. I'm not mentally standing on that because of that internal judgment system I had created that was a product of others' judgment. That was a product of me internalizing other people's judgment of me. And so anytime, that you have judgment, you got to kind of ask yourself, is this me perceiving my judgment? And I'm not trying to knock you empath that be feeling everything so much so that you be like, am I really feeling this? Or nah, it's like sometimes you got to kind of make sure you ain't being crazy because of how much you feel. Sometimes you got to make sure you ain't, just making up shit, right? You want to feel like you're not making up shit. But in either regard, you're not making it up because you're internally experiencing it. But the real question is, where is that voice coming from? The real question is, where is that voice coming from? Is it coming from them now in the present? Or is it coming from them now in the past that you stored within you? That you stored within your cells, that you stored within your memory, that you stored within your energy, and that you have yet to use that energy for. So now, when it comes to me and how I process judgment, now, even if I know for a fact that somebody's judging me and it's not my internal system, now I feel that energy. Instead of downplaying myself about, you should be feeling unbothered, or don't let them get to you, or first I actually do feel that feeling that I feel towards that judgment. And then I use that energy and I transmute it into some art, into some movement, into some, healing for myself, into some other higher energy, higher vibrational energy that I want to utilize that energy for. That energy is to be used, even if it doesn't feel good at the onset or at the triggering of it. That energy is to be used. It's a good source to utilize that energy. And yeah, it's raw energy. Use that raw energy to transmute it. That's where you get the energy to transmute from. That raw energy that might not feel too good. So now I've learned to trust myself even more, because even though I might internally experience that noise in my head that feels like others' judgment from the past, I know how to properly process it in a way that's, number one, not downplaying that person, because that person has actually some validity. Those people was judging you in the past. A lot of people were judging you in the past. Some people still are judging you. But how we internalize it ain't really got nothing to do with them. How we internalize it got everything to do with us and what we're internally dealing with and facing. So now I trust myself more because I allow that process, instead of shutting it down, to be unbothered by another's opinion. Instead of shutting that down, I allow the feeling. To take place, and then I remind myself of where I am now in the present moment. And then I remind myself of, I got the last say. I got the final say. These people, this voice inside my head that I may have attached to my identity, it's not really me. I can see, when you have awareness, you can see yourself outside of these things you've attached to your identity. And so when you tap, all the time, when you give space for that emotion, you now have more room to see clearly and have that awareness to say, hey, okay, well, this is this part of me. This is the judgment part of me that tries to shut shit down. And this is the higher part of me that sees what's going on, that can utilize this energy. And so now I become to trust myself more. And even as I experience judgment, even as I care about other people's thoughts and opinions of me, I still have learned to trust myself through that. And so, yeah, judgment is a part of life. But how you using the energy is the question. And, I kind of take you through a journey of talking about judgment, of how we internalize it, and also how our higher selves, if we allow it to take place, how our higher self can come in and shut the motherfucking judgment down, right? I talk about that on the latest episode of the Talent Alchemy Podcast. You can check that out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Even you can check it out on YouTube. Check out a little visual I got there for it. And it's just a looping visual, but still, I will have more visuals. Of course, I got you an affirmation jam on there on the episode. And yes, continue to follow me, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. And always check out my Patreon because I always have artist regulation content there popping up a little bit everywhere, okay? And also, I'm always looking for you divine artists out there to connect, to share your story, and to potentially be featured on the podcast, all right? Hit me up, or, well, not hit me up, but yeah, hit me up. If you are looking to connect as a divine artist, you are the person who connects to their artistry in the most innate, innocent, and divine way, and is always standing in that divine artistry identity, whether we have to pull ourselves back from it and reclaim it from the external expectations or the internal emotional challenges, okay? So check out the podcast. Hit me up if you need more of that artist regulation content, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Talent Alchemy. Talent Alchemy.